Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom. We have another full moon, and I'm gonna share the screen with you, and I'll do a little reading, explain you what is going on with the real star constellations with the time right now. As you can see already on the left side, there is no Earth, just the AC, but there is just a lot of fire and air. So that's probably what also is easy to understand in the moment what's going on. And if you look outside, you can see it very clearly. It is a very interesting constellation we have here with a half square and a 1.5 square with this opposition. It doesn't make a complete dragon, but you can see that the square that is here to Uranus, Mars, Uranus, is also very, very, we can say fiery in that way. This is the resistance. This is the challenge that we have. This is what we have to face, the opposition. And now looking at the moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the sign that will help us to move beyond. Now that the moon is there and also Pluto is there, it is very important to understand that we can only move away and further on and move away from the old paradigm if we are willing to let it go. Now, this is one of the most difficult and most important thing at the same time, because the new that is coming is something we don't know. It's like really literally, we don't know what we don't know. And this is what we are moving into, is something we don't know. And all the old things that we had, including all the belief systems, all the education, everything, is something we know. And the ego tends to hold on to that, what it knows. Because in general, most people are not very adventurous. And even if we talk about innovation and lots of blah, blah, blah in this direction, people generally are not really innovative, because the moment it comes to the point to let go the old, they refuse. And this is exactly what is happening in the moment. The tension that we have is like people are not willing or not ready to let go what we know, what we don't know what's coming. So a lot of people just hold on to the old beliefs, to the old systems. And let me maybe say that again here. You know what education actually is? Education is a brainwash program, and it comes from about 100 plus years ago, that they created a first school that was in Middle Eastern Europe, to make soldiers. And of course, the boys only went to school because they needed the boys as soldiers. So the training was into being soldiers. Later, the Rothschilds established school in other countries, and the school was to make employees. So generally, the school is to brainwash us into, and if you look back, you probably see that very clearly, into having a career and have kind of lay out the life in front of you. What are you gonna be? What you're gonna work with? What you are going to identify. And what is very interesting when you look at that, when you look at employees, the A and B students in generally are employees. They're the best, they are the best brainwashed. Then the C students are those who are not so well brainwashed, that are those who break out. And you find very often when you look a little bit around, people who were C students, not because they could not be A student if they wanted, because they simply were pissed. School was boring for them, and they did only invest that much to get through. These are usually the ones who have their own business. These are the ones who develop the genius in the world and are really innovative and bring something new. But still, when we look at the time now, when we look at the world now, how many employees do we have versus entrepreneurs? And they're not many. And this is one of the main problems, because the people don't have the courage. Now, the school system has managed to brainwash humanity into that belief system that you need a job. And I just recently had a song, like, playing in my head, and this is an old German song, and I started actually to translate it into English. That is very beautiful. It's something like, thank you for the beautiful day, thank you for every new day, something like that. And then I added, thank you for the rain and sunshine and balance in our lives. But then the second um, a part of the song in German was, thank you for my job, for my working job. So this all made me thinking a lot. See, that's already, it's we learned that song when we were kids. We were singing it in school when we started school. I had one teacher, we always started with a song. He sat on the piano, and it was very beautiful. And that was one of our favorite songs. So you see how deep inside it is, that our whole program of good and bad is connected to this program. And this is why it's so difficult to get away with it, because so much beauty is connected with. I realized that already with some church songs and carols. They are so beautiful. The melodies, they are just with you. But when you listen more closely into the text, into the words, you can see that many of them are pure brainwash and not what's really there. And again, we are spiritual beings. We can say even a step further, spiritual beings trying to be human. It's not just human having a human experience, but many of us try very hard to be human. And exactly this is what the brainwash is. When we look at the program that is here, that is, we are indoctrinated, and it is embossed in our brain, that program, and we are disconnected mainly from the heart, because again, the heart has brain cells. We've been talking about that once before, but we are not encouraged to use them. And actually, in fact, science just rediscovered it. And when you think about that, when especially for the Catholics, when you go to church and you make the sign of the cross, what you do is you disconnect your heart from your head. And all these little things that are so daily routine, nearly, for us, daily work for us, it is so difficult to completely disconnect. And I'm honestly, I'm not sure if this will be possible. What does it mean that we can go on into another realm of thinking? It needs that, really, that transformation from the caterpillar to the butterfly. And remember that the caterpillar literally dies in the cocoon to become that butterfly. So when I look at this square that we have here with this, it's this cross here, this red cross here that we have with the moon, with the sun and the Mercury, sun Mercury in Gemini, which is the sign of the head, the sign of polarity, the sign that is always questioning everything. I just received a couple days ago a very nice little video about the Thai monk, or I don't know Thai. It was a Buddhist monk. And he said, how can we stop the monkeys in the head? How can we meditate and to keep the monkeys busy? And he said, you can meditate anytime. You can meditate when you work, when you sit, when you relax, wherever you are. Just tell the monkeys to focus on your breath. And this is true. Even when you drive a car, when you go anywhere, you can ask the monkeys, your brain energy, focus on the breath. And sometimes you can go a couple breaths, sometimes a couple more, depending. And you can feel that when you are focusing on your breath, that your conscious is shifting. And I think this is what we should do here every time. And that reminds me, my father said always, because I'm very spontaneous and fast in my decisions, he said, before ever you decide something, take 3 deep breaths. That was a very good advice for me, definitely. So this is what is going on here with this triangle. And see, this is also that part of the, you know, the karmic issue that is here. It's a kind of a shock constellation. At the same time, it's failed lessons. And the failure, you know, when something is a failure, if something is missing, is the mistake, is that what we don't have, that what we fail to see, that what is not in our life. So that is also in the words that we use. Actually, we cannot make a mistake. It's impossible, because we say literally, I missed to take it. So how can I make it? How can I have it? I can't. So the mistake is that what we are failing at, what we don't see, what we don't comprehend, what we cannot integrate in our life. And when we look at this from the Gemini perspective here, with the consciousness here now and Mercury, then it would be a chance to start to comprehend, and instead of understand, understand. You know, understand under. So we learn to understand what is really going on in our lives. You know, you can only solve a problem when you know it is there. How can we solve something when you don't see it's a problem? And that's exactly, it comes all to that. What is happening now in the world is only possible because we are so strongly brainwashed, and we are mostly focused on the brain. So if you use the monkeys to go into the observation of the breath, then that means that you make a step forward, because the breath will lead you automatically into rhythm, into balance. This is, you know, the balance is always what is needed. The heart and the brain together, the balance, the thinking and the feeling, the intuition and the inspiration, that is coming together. So if we do that and we start to more go into that breath, whenever we have a problem, instead of just struggling about it, or overthink things, breathe and ask for balance. Ask to be, that you will receive the insights into the balance between the positive and the negative pole, what is and what is not, that we can integrate it. And we can say that the AC, that is Virgo is also in a way connected with Mercury, but also it's the, in this time now, I use as the ruler of Virgo Chiron, which is the healer. So the next step from Gemini up is afterwards, like we have Gemini, this is the communication. We have Cancer, which is the moon, and we have Leo is the sun, and then comes Virgo. And in a way, when we look here, see Mercury has the sun and the moon together in one sign, and the earth. So we come to the earth sign, and we can heal ourselves, because when we are in Gemini in the beginning, we are just like going forth and back and forth and back and forth and back. That's a part of learning. That's a part of experiencing, and the part of learning within ourselves also a certain judgment, which judgment is not only negative, it has only its good side. We also need to learn to judge what is good for us and what is not. So here we can harvest. Virgo, the sign of harvest. Here we can look at the things. Okay, I planted the seeds here. Now they were growing, the seeds of the thought with the experience that we had in between. And then here I can see some results. And that results will kind of help us to understand again which is good for us and which is not. And then from there we can make an educated decision, we can say, but educated from our own experience and not from the brainwash of somebody else, to see what is really, we can say, pro-life and what is contra life, I mean against life. And again, the words life, remember the opposite if you turn it around is evil. So we have two forces here. We have one flowing with life and one against life, and both are needed. Again, here is no good and bad. There is death is not bad. We need death that we can create something new. If there would be no death, and there are many fairy tales about that, that would be absolutely horrible. So looking at this cross here, it is really time to start to examine ourselves with the heart brain cells. You have to listen into things that are coming outside and feel like, does this feel right? And does this, the truth, what Patricia Cote-Robles also said in her last blog, is that it's very important to understand what truth is. And truth always comes from love. But what you see in the moment outside, most things that are visible in politics and what's going on, this is not coming from love. This is coming from hate. And this is so difficult to withdraw from, because it's right in front of our noses. But the best is, if we have a chance, is really to step back. This will go away. This will go away. The more people are reconnected with the heart and start like alternative communities, they stop to buy all these articles that are not good for us. They stop to participate in all that stuff that is bad for us, and start to gather people around, starting to create little communities, starting to work together with others. And instead of using money, barter with things too. Or, for example, don't use your credit card or debit card, use cash. Whenever you can, use cash. In France, they did that. They had, I don't remember which shopping chain, but the big chain, they said you cannot pay with cash anymore. Then they got together and 50 people went into that big mall and all bought a lot of stuff, really full cards. And they went to the cashier and they presented cash, all of them. So I said, okay, if you don't want to accept my cash, then I leave the card for you here. So, and they walk away. So I don't remember how many days it took. They started to take cash again. And if we do that, if we are just not stopping to give up, always go on, and then they will change. And start also, when there are still little shops around, go and buy stuff at the little shops, whatever you need to support them, and pay with cash. So this is more or less what this chart is asking us. We have to make those decisions. These fires out there are burning, and it's up to us, personally us, if we want to go under in the fire or not. We have to look at that. We have this opposition. You see the sun and the moon in opposition, Gemini and Sagittarius. It is time to move beyond. It's time to let everything behind us, even if we don't know what is coming. I'm not sure a lot of people talk about the big event that will happen. I have a feeling too something has to happen, because to really wake up people, I think something has to shake them up, that they can see from a different perspective. But again, also, I think that it depends very much on you, how you will be affected by this event. If you're already connected with your heart, if you're already connected with the being that you are, like see here Venus and Mars in Leo, with the Venus here in Leo, that you are really already that queen or that king of the heart. I think this event will not be too shocking, because you start to understand immediately what it's all about. And inspiration is strong, but the inspiration might be raw, unfiltered, and shocking. So whatever comes up in these days and weeks to come, try to look at it from a perspective of the heart. Try to look at it that not just, no, I did that just recently. I said, no. And after thinking and contemplating a little bit more, I said, okay, you're right. But this is a spontaneous reaction for most people. Once something comes up that is completely new, like in that category, you don't know what you don't know. Our first reaction is stop it. No. And often also fear comes up, or whatever, anger, whatever. Just go through it. We will manage to go into this new age, but it's not that easy. And again, we cannot go there with luggage. We cannot go there with a programmed mind, with preconceived ideas how it's supposed to be. I hope the reading helps you a little bit to understand what's going on. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And I look forward to talk to you again soon. Thank you.